Welcome, Christian Warriors. My name is Keith. I'm going live on a Sunday, and you know what that means. It means that there was an active shooter or some other violent incident that happened at a church. We're going to go to Michigan today, where there was an active shooter incident at a LDS church. Now, the information I'm pulling in is from vetted news sources, from information the police have put out, the LDS church has put out. I have been in touch with LDS friends about what they know and what's going on. But again, this changes, right? The information can change pretty rarely, as they often do as the investigation unfolds. But we've got a lot of people injured, and I think we have some people missing in that fire that you see on your screen right now. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. If you are new here, a Christian Warrior, we talk about church security, how to keep your church safe, self-defense for Christians, and doing it in a biblical way. So this happened earlier today. This is September 28th, if you're tuning in afterwards. This happened at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Meeting House on McCandlish Road in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. Now, that's about 50 miles north of Detroit. This is the church before it burned down, just to give you an idea. Now, the assailant, the suspect, is a 40-year-old male from Burton, Michigan, which I'm being told is nearby. Now, there is some talk that this might be the suspect that rammed into the church. Before you start looking at the flags and saying it's a right-wing guy, we need to just stop for a minute and put on our brakes. Number one, it's too early in the investigation. Okay. We're not going to know for a couple of days what's really going on. I have no doubt that this is going to be a lone wolf attacker, which I've been warning you about as recently as 4 days ago. 4 days ago, I did a video on how ISIS was calling people to attack churches, and that whenever they do that, within the next couple of weeks, a church gets attacked by somebody that is a lone wolf attacker, because they hear all of this stuff saying, go shoot churches, and they end up going and doing it. It's unconfirmed if that's the suspect, but everything I've heard from witnesses on the line, that looks like that's going to be the suspect's vehicle. So again, what this suspect did was he rammed his vehicle into the church, came out with a semi-automatic rifle, and started shooting people. I've been warning you guys about ramming attacks, and that you need to put bollards out front of your church. Now, most LDS churches are pretty much the same for the most part. I live in Idaho, where the majority denomination is LDS, and I actually live next to a temple, but I went to the meeting house just down the road when I was coming back from church, and I took a look, and they have the standard front doors that you can just drive a vehicle straight through if there's nothing blocking it, no bollards or anything like that. I do have a lot of LDS followers. We have all been talking, and we are worried about the LDS church because they have really left themselves open for attack. Most of the churches, or if not all, don't have an organized safety ministry like most evangelical churches do. And a lot of them have been worried about that. In fact, a lot of LDS leaders have been trying to push my name forward to help them with their security. If you are LDS watching this, I am about 4 hours from Salt Lake City. I would be more than happy to help you guys set up how you would do a safety team at your churches, and I will do it for free because I'm tired of seeing this. So again, you guys can all reach out to me. I will try to make that happen. All right. So again, the attack method: rammed his vehicle into the church, initiated his assault, started shooting, and then lit the church on fire. We have seen a number of active shooter incidents where the suspects had gas cans with accelerants and then used that initiate an attack or to follow up on their attack. Now, officers responded quickly, and the officers that responded engaged the gunman, fatally shooting him. My 2 cents, we're going to talk about the Bible here in a minute, because every time I talk about this stuff, I always bring Bible study into it. And we're going to talk about safety ministries. And I think all churches need to have a safety ministry. If somebody had a gun there, they could have engaged that guy right away and stopped him. Instead, you had to wait for the police to show up. And I can tell you, as a cop, if you're new here, I've been a cop I was a cop for 30 years. I spent 20 years on SWAT, and I've been to violent crimes where I roll up and I'm like, man, I wish somebody had a gun to shoot this guy and just end it. And a lot of people are going to say in the comments, you're not a true Christian and don't call yourself a Christian because I say things like this. I just want you to go back to Romans 13 and read Romans 13 and then come back and talk to me about that. Look, we need to have armed people in. I got scolded by an LDS person for saying this, but I'm going to say it again. The LDS Church years ago put out a memo to their people saying no concealed carry in the church unless you're an active police officer. And they got mad at me for saying, don't say that publicly. Well, you guys put that out loud. Like that was in the paper. I remember being here in Idaho, reading that in the paper, thinking that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard put out. And I don't know if it's still that way. The last I heard, as of a couple months ago, it was. Why would you do that? I'm just going to leave it at that. This bothers me so much, man. We need to pray for all of our churches, because this is going to continue. You're going to see more of this. This will continue and continue and continue, because the left, if you guys have been watching my videos, I put a video out about how leftists were putting out to active shooters, telling them to attack churches. And we're seeing that, right? Hey guys, in the comments, be kind in the comments. People have died. I don't want to see, on YouTube. I don't see it in Substack, but on YouTube, I see some disparaging comments. And if I say it in there, I'm going to ban you. And I don't like banning people. You need to get it together. All right. I don't want to see. I just don't want to see this. Like that. This guy is a Zionist fraud. Jesus, people are stupid. All right. Let me get back on track here. I got to stop looking at your comments. All right. So right now we have at least 2 fatalities. One's the suspect. We don't really care about him. And then we have one LDS person. We have 9 injuries, several of which are critical. So we have to pray for them. Now, I did talk to somebody that is connected out there who said they expect to find more bodies in the rubble of the building. So expect this to go a little bit higher. Search warrants. Police have executed search warrants at the suspect's home in Burton. Up North Alive has said that the FBI sent approximately 100 agents to assist. Now, I'm just going to stop real quick. This is a state investigation. When you see FBI show up, mainly they get in the way. But they do have a great evidence response team. So sometimes we might use their evidence response team because they have more resources. But the primary investigators is going to be the local law enforcement agency, just like I talked about in the Charlie Kirk assassination. The primary responsible agency is that local agency, not the FBI. They might do a parallel investigation, and they might do federal charges, but that'll be down the road. Okay. So the FBI is going to show up there. I can tell you right now, 100 agents is way too many. Everybody's going to be bumping into each other. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a high profile case, is too many people come. So there are going to be search warrants done. They're all state search warrants that are going to be done, not federal. But anyways, that just give you an idea. They'll be collecting electronic devices. They'll be looking through to see what his search history was, who he was communicating to. Was there any group that may have kind of pushed this guy forward? I'm sure you're going to see something about Discord chats, Telegram chats, stuff like that. That seems to come up pretty consistently in these. We don't have a motive yet. It'll be very interesting, but I think you're going to find out. Again, I'm speculating based off prior incidents. There's going to be a lone wolf attacker that is just nuts, and he was just looking to do harm. Hold on here. All right, so let's talk about implications for church safety. Whenever we talk about an incident like this, I like to talk about what your church can do to protect yourself. Obviously, the first is to get a church safety ministry. Vehicle is a weapon. I've been letting you know that ISIS and Al-Qaeda have been telling their followers to use vehicles as weapon, and we've been seeing vehicles used as weapons a lot recently. We've seen a man run down a bunch of kindergartners in front of a church preschool recently within the last couple of months. He purposefully targeted those kindergartners when he did that. We've, of course, got the New Orleans New Year's Day attack. We've got many more incidents on top of that. If you saw my newsletter yesterday I put out a newsletter over at christianwarriortraining.com where I talked about how a man used a vehicle that was on fire to ram a church, and then the church burned down exactly like this. And that was in the newsletter. If you want current free intelligence and free training, head over to christianwarriortraining.com. I've got everything you need over there. All right. So vehicles being used as a weapon has been pretty common in dual threat tactics. I've been trying to prep you guys and tell you consistently that people are going to use their vehicle to ram into your church, come out, and then start shooting. We've been seeing that used as a tactic against churches over the last couple of years. Christians love their glass. They love big glass doors, big glass windows, and the suspects are going to take advantage of that. So you can lock the doors all you want, but you can take a mid-sized vehicle in some churches and run it through the doors and run all the way into the lobby, start your car on fire, and then start engaging people inside. You've got fire that's going to trap people inside, which is what I heard. I heard that when the church caught on fire, that it did keep people from evacuating, and some people may have been consumed in the fire. So I do expect the death count to go up on this. You need to have a rapid response capability. I just did a video the other day. I've been doing a lot of videos because a lot of stuff's been coming out quick and fast about no one is coming to help you. And the essence of the video was that the FBI knows about these threats that I've been warning you about. And I said in prior video that I expected a church to be attacked in the next few weeks. That nobody was coming to help you, that the FBI was not going to warn you about these threats. I need you to have the attitude of nobody's coming to help you and to be ready to defend yourself and your church. So that when somebody comes up to ram their vehicle into your church and start shooting, that you can start exchanging gunfire with the gunman and start slowing them down. And you need to be your own police officer. Okay. You need to have some kind of interagency coordination. You need to be able to coordinate with law enforcement when they show up and to be able to talk to them, right? And be able to quickly work together. But you also have to have mutual aid with other churches. So if you have a horrible incident like this happen, it may be very difficult for your spokesperson at your church to say anything because they're just consumed by grief. And so that other church can come in and be the spokesperson for that church and go ahead and put information out. They can bring their security teams over to help provide security because this scene is going to be active for at least a week. And you're going to need to protect your church and your church grounds during that time. So just my 2 cents. All right. I always like talking about the Bible, and I want us to turn to Ezekiel 33, verses 6 and 7. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, so that the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes any one of them, that person is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at the watchman's hand. So you, son of man, I have made a watchman for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall give them a warning from me. So this is the clearest passage for church safety teams. God holds the watchman accountable if he fails to sound the alarm. I am making sure that I don't disappoint God, and I do, and I sound the alarm, and I've been sounding the alarm nonstop. You're receiving my message. If you get the newsletter at christianwarriortraining.com, which YouTube, I don't put out as much info over here. You need to go over there to get more information. I've been putting out tons of info. If you're getting that info, you need to sound the alarm to your elders, to your pastor, to everybody else, and start thinking about how do we form a safety team. I do get a common question. I live in a small village, a small town. I'm in a rural area. Our church is only 40 people. Do I need a safety ministry? Yes. I was in a church of only 40 people at one time, and I was the safety ministry. And I made sure that I was armed. I made sure the doors were locked when everybody was inside so that nobody could come in. I made sure I positioned myself so I can watch what's going on. You're it. If you have a large church and don't have a safety ministry, man, you got to fix that. Okay. So Ezekiel 33, 6 and 7 is a good one to go to. Another good one is Nehemiah 4:9, which I saw in the comments, which I was really happy to see somebody alert and saying that. Nehemiah 4:9 says, and we pray to our God and set guard as protection against them day and night. So here Nehemiah didn't just pray for safety. He also posted guards. Preparedness and prayer went hand in hand with Nehemiah. So this shows the biblical model for a church safety ministry, trusting God while also taking practical manners to protect your church and to make sure it's taken care of, not sending out a memo that says, don't bring your gun to church. Proverbs 22:3. The prudent see danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. So here, wisdom means recognizing danger and acting before it strikes. You have to train and you have to prepare because that's part of godly prudence. Failing to prepare is portrayed as foolishness. Lastly, Luke 21:36, but stay awake at all times, praying that you may have strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Son of Man. Jesus calls his people to vigilance, staying spiritually and physically awake. It means being alert to threats, discerning the times, and preparing ourselves. I've been warning you about this stuff, and yeah, some people don't listen. Some people do. I want to have a message to LDS Church, my LDS followers. I'm here for you. If you want me to help at a higher level to get the LDS Church to have security at the local level, I'm here for you. I am a close drive to Salt Lake City. I have no problem with driving out there and meeting people. I'm also here in Idaho. We can meet here, whatever it takes. Okay. It's a lot going on. Make sure you go to christianwarriortraining.com. For my people over there at christianwarriortraining.com, if you have questions, go into the comments and leave a comment, and I will try to answer it the best I can. I will do that until about 3 p.m. today. And then after that, I'm going to go spend time with my family and decompress. I'm not going to answer questions on YouTube because YouTube comments are always out of control, but head on over to Substack and I'd be glad to help you. If you want to help my mission here, feel free to do a paid subscription, but there's no requirement to do so. I will always be glad to help you. God will find a way to provide. And that's it, man. I want you to pray for the people at this church. I want you to pray for the people that were shot and pray for their healing. God is the great physician, and we just need to pray for him to heal those people. We want to pray for our first responders and the people that witnessed this. They're going to have a lot of trauma from this incident, and it's going to be something that's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives. So we need to pray for them. I want you to pray that LDS as a whole, that their administration realizes they need church safety teams at your churches to start protecting you. That's the best I got for right now. All right. I also want you to remember your ABCs. Always be caring.